had this sort of idea forever. Like when I was 17, I always wanted a 911.
Yeah.
And me being me, I try to find the cheapest,
Sure.
most average, examples I can find because I like playing with them. So yeah, I just went, saw this thing, drove it, was like, wow, that's cool. And then I thought I better do the other end of the spectrum, go drive a nice one. So I went and drove a nice one, it's an 86 model, a 3.2 and Carrera, and it just didn't feel right. I don't know, it was just too polished. So I went back, I drove this again, I went, yeah, that's the one.
Well, welcome to a new Dave's Classic Garage Tours video, and today I'm back up in Melbourne to visit Jacob. He's not a mechanic, he hasn't got a workshop as such, he has got a great space to keep his collection of eclectic classics. Let's go and meet him. Jacob.
How you going?
How you doing?
Good, mate.
Nice little collection you got here.
Thank you.
An eclectic collection, I'd say. Well, 2 Porsches, but yeah. Tell us about this car life you got going on.
Yeah, it's a bit different to what you probably see. A lot of guys, I don't really have any number one sort of brand or anything that I'm into. I just like old cars. So
Yeah.
I sort of.
Where's that born out of?
I grew up. Old man was always into combis.
Right.
So yeah, we did a lot of hunting for old combis, changing engines on the driveway, things
Type
like
2s
that.
or sorry, they're all Type 2. Splits or
Not splitties, no.
Right,
Even
bay
then,
windows.
they were still a bit hard to come by, I guess. But
bay windows.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, grew up doing that. I don't know. Grew up going down to Bendigo. That's where my family's from.
Right.
Driving old cars, go karting and things like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's sort of always been around it, I guess.
So those combis over here, were they that lower end with a lot of rust repair down there?
Yeah, they're always full of rust.
Yeah.
And not a lot of repairs going on
No.
with that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
I just remember like back then you could pick up an old combi for like $800 or something. There's
Yeah.
a few times we went, checked out some old ones and
Yeah.
picked them up just for like the engine or something like that. You know what I mean? Just if it had a decent engine.
Sure.
But I'm talking like I was, 7 years old.
Right.
We did some trips back from Melbourne because I actually, family's from Bendigo, grew up on the Gold Coast, so we were doing a lot of holidays down in Bendigo and things, and trips driving old combis back up to the Gold Coast. It was always fun with the old man.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Did you have was it the Cali look over here? Was it all about that in Australia? Well, that was more the Beatles, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, again, with that sort of stuff, I was so young. And my old man, it was more just work trucks, you know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't like a hobby or a passion thing for my dad.
Okay.
He loved them, but it was like, he's a demolition contractor, so they were full of old tools and they were all pretty beat up. It was more just function over over anything else. Yeah.
Well, look at this. There's something that surprised me when I was just going around the front, and it's a Vauxhall badge on a ute. For goodness sake.
It's a Vauxhall Velox ute. It's a 1953.
Yeah. Where'd you pick this up from?
This is sitting out the front of a wreckers down in, I think it's Mordialloc or something like that. I'm trying to remember. I bought it off an old bloke called Graham. He'd picked it up a year or two before from a South Australian farmer.
Right.
And it had been sitting in his shed for years and years. And yeah, it was in a very sorry state. Like it was, like I said, out the front of a wreckers. But it was all predominantly there. It just was in pieces and hadn't driven for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I had just been on the hunt. I got this BMI bonnet that I wanted an old ute, and I wanted something that had a lot of character.
Yeah.
And this thing showed up on, I think I got it off Just Cars, I think it was.
Right, yeah.
Went down, had a look, didn't even know what the hell I was doing. It was my first big project, so I love this ute.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm not a mechanic, but I just, I love fixing cars, so
Sure.
I sort of was on the hunt for something that could keep me busy, and this was the first big project that I took on. And now come to think of it, it was probably bigger than all the other ones I've sort of done, so it was a silly place to start. But
was it mechanically, was it working, or?
So like, with a bit of a boat tank, and if you hot wired it, it would fire and it would run. But fuel lines, fuel tank, brakes, whole interior was just empty, like gutted. Pretty much, yeah, just nothing else was there, like as in functioning. But yeah, it ran.
So can you tell me, how come it's not a Holden? Did they?
So it was made in the General Motors plant in Melbourne.
It was made.
I'm pretty sure they used to like
CKD.
fly it all the bits in, and then they would assemble them here.
Knockdown kit.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people think it is a Holden, but it's not. And you don't see many of these utes. They were pretty uncommon.
Absolutely. Well, there was Holden ones you could have had at the time anyway, wouldn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
So that suggests that. So would these body styles sold in the UK?
I'm pretty sure they. Oh, actually, now that you mention it, maybe they were for the Australian market only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Because that was an Aussie thing, wasn't it? The whole ute craze. So I've seen posts on forums and things of guys in the UK with them, but
you know what? Having filmed a Zephyr ute the other day, and then being reminded that you've seen them back. I can only imagine they're imported to the UK because utes, they just weren't a thing. I mean, I can remember, a mini pickup, but this sort of body style, a Vauxhall Velox. I mean,
gosh. Super uncommon. Even
so
here.
What about the? I mean, was this on here, or do you have
so
to find
I
any
had
of these?
boxes of parts.
Right.
Essentially, I bought it from the guy. Obviously, the timber was not there.
Yeah.
The whole interior. Like no carpets, all of the trims and stuff that you can see, the dials and everything. Everything was just in boxes.
Right.
No seat. I actually got this. I got this from Lake's Entrance. A guy had a sedan.
Oh,
yeah. I had a seat frame that came with this, but it was so far gone that I just sort of opted to try and find something else, and I've luckily found this, Lake's Entrance.
Awesome.
But yeah, essentially everything was just in boxes, and I just sort of had to go through bit by bit and sort of put it all, and I didn't even know, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what was what. It was just purely like putting a puzzle together, you know what I mean?
Meccano kit.
Yeah, literally. But stuff like I made up these panels.
Right.
I obviously, put the floorboards in, the wood boards in.
Yeah.
And there's, it's all pretty well slapped together. There's nothing, it's not too pretty, but that was the idea. I wanted to retain as much of its originality as possible.
Patina.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
How does that, getting through roadworthy? You haven't got any protruding, rusty edges, I suppose, have you? So that's
that was a
when you turn up with something like this, how does that go down?
Funny story. It was a mission to do it. Had a bit of help getting that, but long story short, if it's not like structural, this is what I was told anyway on this one. If it's not structural rust, it's fine. Yeah. Because as you can see, there's eating through there and that. But the actual frame, the chassis is all very good. So the biggest one for this was the brakes, getting the brakes sorted. I had done it all myself, new wheel cylinders, ran new lines and things. And
can we have a look under the bonnet as we go?
Yeah, for sure.
Keep on talking, buddy. Yeah.
But the roadworthy, it was a bit of a process. And but that being
another thing surprised in me.
The side
cool.
hinge bonnet. You can actually choose which side. You can just.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it's very original. Recode the carb. That's a very bad attempt at getting some fresh air into the cabin. But it's got a whole new wiring harness. There's a guy out in Ringwood that made up a whole new harness for me, and me and my mate Chris put it in. Pretty simple. Yeah, definitely. Not a lot going on, but.
And it comes in handy. You're using it for its intended purpose.
I use this thing heaps. So I've had this for a couple of years now. I just moved from a factory in Fairfield to this one here in Preston, and everything you see in this place was moved with this.
That's awesome.
Albeit a million trips, but and it's only 2Ks in between the two factories, but it's still working. It's 70-something years old, so.
It's awesome, mate. Sorry, what year?
It's a 53.
53.
A 71.
Awesome. Lovely stuff.
And it'll start, everything works.
Go on, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Oh, now I've I'm tempting fate now with an old
No,
car.
I'm sure it's fine. Oh, I love it.
It'll go.
Oh, there she goes.
Took a little bit longer than expected.
Bit of choke.
Bit of chokes on, yeah. There she goes.
Brings a smile to my face. Beautiful.
Yeah. It nearly didn't want to go there for a minute.
Oh yeah, she was playing with you.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
She'll stink the joint out. Smokes a little bit.
Nice one.
Yeah.
That's
But no, I love this thing. I mean, I'll never sell this because of the pain that I went through to get it, you know, running.
And it's your first project.
And it's sort of weirdly sentimental to me because it was the first big one I took on, so. Yeah. Also, I'd never make back the money I spent on it.
Right, okay. All right, well, the star of the show for the moment
For the minute, yeah.
is a, let's say a well-worn.
Yeah.
How many miles, sorry, Case?
I think it says 180, but that stopped ticking over, so
Oh, right,
who knows?
Okay, and what model is it?
So it's actually a 1969.
Is it? Oh, right, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a 69 911E. Someone obviously had forward dated it back probably in the 80s.
Back in the 80s, yeah.
Which
yeah,
is common.
That's what they did, yeah. You're going to, now I saw an Instagram post, you want to backdate it?
Well, not like
fully.
not like a full, beautiful, pristine backdate. I'm gonna bring back elements of the 69.
Yeah.
But I'm probably gonna do like a bit of an outlaw build.
Right,
on
okay.
it. Because I figured the thing's already such a Frankenstein. It's got a 3-litre SC engine. You know, obviously crash bumpers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's had the wider arse end put on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you probably financially could justify bringing it right back to its original form, but it's not really what I want to do. I want to make
There's
it.
enough.
There's enough
All
of that.
restorations out there's enough
Yeah.
of that sort of, no, do.
Yep.
It's a Porsche. You can get away with what you want to do.
Do what
to
you
it.
want, yeah. And like I do, like you can see from a few of my cars, I do like customizing and doing them how I want to do them. And also with my limited knowledge, I just do what I can do. So yeah, I'll probably do a bit of an outlaw build. And I kind of find it funny. There's like this idea like backdating them now is fine, and everybody thinks that's what you should do, and that's acceptable. But if you have a forward dated, like even I've had this for a week, and I've already had some people sort of give me wry looks because of it's a forward date. You know, it's unacceptable. So yeah, I don't care for that sort of thing. I'll just do what I want to do with it.
You don't be taking any notice of anyone. You do what you got to do. So she's. I saw over in the corner you've got a tail.
Yeah, so it came with the whale tail.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think someone had, you know, sort of made it look like an SC, a 3-litre Carrera SC or something. But I prefer the flat engine lid look.
I love it.
Yeah, and that's finished. That's done.
To be honest with you, I love it.
Yeah, I sort of like the flat engine look.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. To be honest with you, give me that flat rather than the whale tail.
Yeah.
Coming in, bud.
Hi, how are you? Oh, Jacob.
That's me.
I got a bunny delivery for you. Backboards.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Where you want that?
We'll just chuck him in here if that's cool. Yeah.
Didn't you have? Is that a new edition, or does that come with it?
The Momo wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put that on the other day.
You're going to say you had one of those delivered on a previous post for another car. We'll see later on, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
So tell us about your plans. What are you going to do?
So at the moment, I've got a numeric quick shift coming.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the standard stuff that guys do, probably do the Ren Speed floor panels and pedals. Numeric shifter. Visually, I actually ordered some some decals, like some white decals, but I sort of did a dummy up last night in the garage, and I didn't really like how they look. So yeah, I don't know about that. I got a guy, a mate, Paul, he did the lettering on the Sprite.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe of doing some sign writing stuff. I'm not 100% sure. But I got Nick at Cascone's going to have a look at the engine for me, because again, it's my first 911, so I'm not.
It's not something you can revert to YouTube on.
Yeah, I just don't want to start pulling apart the engine. I mean, how much these things are these days. So
Sure.
I'm going to get him to have a look at it. If it needs any work, I'll get that done, and potentially maybe do a bit of.
Is he a Porsche guy?
He's a Porsche guy. Yeah, and he's apparently quite big in the racing scene as well.
You're right. Yeah.
So I've heard good things. I reached out to a few Porsche guys, and they mentioned him, and potentially do some engine upgrades. Yeah. So it's got the 3 litre in it already.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
bit of body down.
Yeah, there's a few how you going areas bottom of that door.
Yeah.
I was looking last night on 911 Design. You can get lower door skins. There's a bit of rust in the front passenger footwell. Nothing crazy. There's a bit on the engine lid here.
So it's a Victorian car. Yeah.
I bought it. So I bought it off a guy in Carrum Downs.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of beautiful old cars there. Another 911. He'd bought it from a guy about 1.5 years ago.
All right.
Who'd had it quite a long time. I think 15 years or something. I don't think he did the mods on it, like as in the forward date, but yeah, as far as I'm aware, it was on full reg. I've got the old plates there, MV911.
Right. Yeah. The old garden
and it had just been a driver. Like it had just been just a driver, a bit of a pig.
So
I don't know 100% the backstory. I kind of bought it on a whim. I had this sort of idea forever. Like when I was 17, I always wanted a 911.
Yeah.
And that was 30 grand back then. And just sort of, life gets away from you. You grow up, and I've always just wanted one, but the prices just keep going up and up and up.
Yeah.
And eventually, last week, well, it was actually a few weeks before then, I just sort of thought, fuck, I'm just going to have a look and see if I can find anything. And me being me, I try to find the cheapest, most average, examples I can find, because I like playing with them. So, I went and saw this thing, drove it, was like, wow, that's cool. And then I thought I better do the other end of the spectrum, go drive a nice one. So I went and drove a nice one, a 3.6, an 86 model, a 3.2, and Carrera, and it just didn't feel right. I don't know, it was just too polished. So I went back, I drove this again, I went, that's the one. And
you're a man after my own heart in that regard.
And also, I mean, again, don't get me wrong, these are still expensive, but for what a nice one goes for, this was a good price. So
have they dropped off in post-COVID? Those silly prices, so they're coming.
Everything has, yeah. I mean, the 911s, though, to be honest, they're a rule unto their own. They kind of just.
There is this sort of mystique that's been built up over the last 20 years or so, isn't there? That's
and because they, I guess, were around for such a long time, they sort of span a couple of generations too. So there's a lot of guys dream cars. So there's a lot of demand for them, even though they made truckloads of them.
For sure.
But again, before driving this, I'd never driven one. I'd always loved them, but I'd never actually gone and driven one. And it was one of those, people say don't meet your heroes. Well, luckily it was one of those moments where I drove it and I thought, oh, now I get it. Like, they are such a cool car to drive and such a fun car to drive.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In terms of, like we were saying, what I'm going to do to it, there'll be some interior stuff. Like I'm doing the seats. I got a guy, Mick Langford, who does auto upholstery. So he's doing some stuff with the seats with me. Door panels, I think I'll do RS door panels. I don't know. And I don't know. I'll just make it up as I go.
Nice one. Okay.
I'm bad at explaining when you ask me the differences, but you'll see straight away. Such a difference.
Is that open?
It's just shit.
Right. Here we go. Legs 11. Right out there. Here we
You're
go.
big enough that any car might be a challenge.
Jesus Christ.
Push. You can put the seat back.
Oh,
Where'd you break?
what was that? I haven't put my feet. I'm doing a Fred Flintstone now, am I? No.
Oh, yeah,
Carpet.
that front for you.
Carpets.
Working for you?
There we go. Ah,
There we go.
well, happy days. There we go.
The joy of the old car, you know?
Yeah, this takes me back actually, mate. There's a certain aroma.
Yeah.
I can. A friend's uncle had one when I was a kid. Well, a teenager. Oh yes.
Different sound.
Yeah. So we're in with the SC motor, 3 litre, isn't it? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Synchro in seconds, pretty well shot.
Uh-huh.
So there's no quick changes between first and second at all. I got to sort that out.
We're not worrying about heating up the oil or anything then, is it?
I drove it just before you.
Oh right, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Apparently you can take them just to 3.5.
Uh-huh.
They're a bit cold. That being said, the RPM gauge doesn't work, so
Set offset.
she gets a bit.
It's funny, isn't it? There's a whole generation of people just wouldn't know that everything works, and it's such a throwaway society if something doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep on thinking we're going to bottom out on that one there, but if it doesn't, we're not.
Thing's a bit of a noisy one to probably get some unwanted attention. Also red, I'm not really... I've always had a bit of a thing where I didn't want red cars, but I've had two. I had that old 190E and then
Yeah.
this is the second one.
Gone through a few motors that you sort of turn over, and interesting stuff as well. Go through them.
I had it's a 1986 190E, but it was a 5-speed manual
Yeah.
with a Cosworth body kit.
Yeah, when I read about the Cosworth,
Yeah, it was a cool looking car, but again, it was one of those ones, you know, from 10 feet type situations.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of hail damage and and a bit of rust. It was just, yeah, it was. I bought it sight unseen again from Queensland, and that one beat me a little bit. Yeah, like I think it had GTI Golf seats or something in it.
oh right, yeah,
It had like a little OMP, like
yeah.
tiny little flat bottom race wheel. It was just a bit of a boy racer, that car, and I wanted to try and just put the original interior back. I ended up finding a blue interior, which was weird, blue and red, but it actually kind of worked.
Right.
And I had big dreams for that one. I was gonna, I don't know, I was gonna put a bigger engine, do an engine swap and all sorts of shit, but I just I don't know, I either fall in love with them or I don't, and that one, I just, after doing all the work, I just didn't love it, so I ended up selling it. But right, this guy's about to kill me.
Okay, buddy. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you very, very much for giving me your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming out.
No, I've hope to see you out and about sometime.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
As ever, thanks for watching, and if you did enjoy it, please consider liking, adding a comment, subscribing and sharing my content. It really does make a difference, and best of all, it's absolutely free.